Welcome to Consumer Internet Banking. The screen that we're looking at is the landing screen when you log into the Internet Banking product. You'll notice across the top we do have several tabs: My Account, Transfers, Bill Pay, Settings, Support, and Simple View. Just a quick look at this screen. A little bit to the right, we do have a My Accounts listing. This is kind of a tiled layout of the accounts that are linked to the profile. This is going to give you brief balance information, pending information, hold information, available balance, maybe a quick view, and then also a quick transfer shortcut to be able to make transfers to or from an account for whatever reason. So this is kind of a shortcut for all of these options within Internet Banking. We scroll down the screen just a little bit. The body of the screen you'll see really contains a listing of each account type that is available and linked to the account. So we have checking, savings, CD, and loans. These account types would appear or disappear based on the accounts that are actually linked to the profile. If we had no loans linked, we would not see a loan subheading there. Below that, you do have some quick links. There's Home, Privacy Policy, and Help. These three options do appear within every screen of the Internet Banking product. Home will simply link you to the bank's website. Privacy Policy will take you to the bank's privacy policy that's found on their website. And then Help is the electronic help manual that is searchable by keyword. So if you needed to use that as a resource, feel free to utilize that at any point. Scrolling back up just a tad, you'll notice we do have a total of deposit accounts, a total of loan accounts there. And to be able to access an account, to drill into it, to locate transaction information, you can actually click on the hyperlink for any of these accounts. It does drill into each of the accounts, the account level settings, so that you can see all that information if you like. With Internet Banking, there are multiple ways to accomplish the same task for many different things. I always like to point out, if for some reason you did not want to use the hyperlink, you could go up to My Accounts, let the menu expand out, and then from there you could click on the account in the subheading listing there if you wanted to. It would take you to the same place. I'll note that in the demo environment, it is defaulted to show a full account number. By standard default, these account numbers are typically always masked, and it looks similar to this. This would be the default masking look. If you do want to see those full account numbers, you would be able to go up to Show Account Number in the upper right, located just beside Logout. Click that button, and that's going to expand and show you the full account number for that account. So to be able to drill into an account, we'll go ahead and just click on one to open that up. And whenever the account opens, you'll notice that we have several sub-tabs that go along with that. So we're able to see a heading that tells us the account nickname. This account just happens to be called Checking on the prior screen, but if you nicknamed your account something differently, it's just going to include that account nickname. And then we have the account number listed to the right. With the subheadings just below that, the first subheading that we land on is Details. Details provides a quick overview of basic information on the account. We do have balance information, the current balance, collected balance, available balance, pending, hold, overdraft limit, line of credits, basic information such as this. And then to the right, we have balance history. So these are going to be things like balance for the average balance for the last statement cycle, so on and so forth. Interest information, if this is an interest-bearing account, and then account information such as date open and the date of the last deposit. Below this is where we would actually see recent transactions listed. The maximum number of transactions here that you would see would be transactions for the past 30 days. Anything beyond that, you would have to refer to the Transactions sub-tab here at the upper portion of the screen to be able to retrieve things beyond that 30-day period. Again, this is a brief snapshot of current activity on this account. For things beyond that initial 30 days, it's going to require a little more research on that Transactions tab. So we'll go ahead and jump over to the Transactions tab. When we land on the Transactions tab, you'll notice there's a small drop down just below the transaction heading. It says this month. You can expand that to say this month, last month, or date range. This month does only include things from the 1st through the 30th or 31st of the month. So if we're on the 3rd, today would be the 3rd, then we're only going to see transactions from the 1st through the 3rd. If we wanted to see items for last month, that's going to show us items from the 1st through the 30th or the 1st through the 31st, depending on how many days there were in the prior month. If we wanted to see a date range, maybe we wanted to see items from the 15th of last month through the 20th of this month, you would accomplish that through the date range feature there, just by clicking that, and then you would have the option to key in that date range. A little further to the right, you do have advanced search options. Advanced search options would allow you to search for a specific check number, a specific transaction type, a specific dollar amount, description. This is where you would come if you're really looking for a very narrow piece of information on a transaction. If you're really looking for a specific piece of a transaction, this is where you would probably have luck locating that. I'm going to jump back to the account. A little further to the right beyond advanced search, this does include your export options. Export options are going to include a PDF format, and a comma-separated file format, a Word format, a BAI2 format, and then QuickIn and QuickBooks would be your export options. So again, you would just select that drop down, select your export piece that you're wanting to choose, and then choose the location of where you're wanting to save out on your machine so that you can go back and pick that up. Below that is actually the transaction listing. So this is going to give us the complete transaction listing for the search criteria that you've keyed at the top of the screen here, whether that be this month, last month, or date range. This will give us all of that search criteria. You'll notice that the subheadings of the transaction listing area, they do have drop downs. These are searchable fields, so these drop downs are populated based on the transaction search results that we have here. So we can see categories, if your transactions have been categorized, if a customer has been keeping up with those, and those are categorized. That is a filter that we can use to utilize and narrow out and maybe see all payments that have been made or received on XYZ company or something along those lines. Description, again, this is a filter that we can utilize to be able to filter through the different descriptions that are available in that set of transactions, maybe in a date range that we've located. And the same thing for type. If maybe we were only interested in checks that had cleared the system, or maybe we're only interested in deposits, maybe just ACH items, you would be able to expand that filter on type and select that. Same thing for dollar amount, you can filter through that. Again, you have the pages that you can page between, and the transactions per page, you can expand that out if you wanted to. The default for transactions per page for details and transactions is 10, so the default there would be 10 transactions per page. I'll move over to Quick Transfer. Within the Quick Transfer screen, this is going to allow you to move money to or from multiple accounts at the same time. So if maybe this is my payroll account, today's payday, and I need to move funds between 3 or 4 different accounts that I'm trying to save money in for whatever reason, I can accomplish that all from this screen instead of having to go to the Transfers tab and make individual transfers to those accounts. So what we can do, you can see there's a drop down here. If I wanted to maybe flip this and make this my offsetting account that I'm transferring to, make this the account that I'm wanting to deposit the money into, it will flip-flop the debit and credit side of the listing here. But as we work through the bottom portion of the screen to say how much money we would like to deposit into each account, you'll see that the total transfer amount builds based on what we're seeing in the screen. So the total transfer amount accumulates and adds up to balance out the transaction for us. And at this point, all we have to do is click Submit, and it's going to process all of this as one transfer instead of having to key all of these individually. It will give us a confirmation number as well. We'll go ahead and move on to Settings. Settings is the area that would allow you to edit the account nickname. So if I wanted to call this account something other than checking, if I wanted to call it my son's account, if I wanted to call it the bill account or wedding fund, I could certainly nickname that here. The text banking nickname, this is utilized for the text service if you wanted to be able to text BAL to receive your balance on a specific account. This would allow you to establish a nickname for that account so that when you are texting BAL, you can text that account nickname to receive the balance on that specific account. So this is where that would come in with the texting service. Sidebar view, this is actually talking about the account listing on the right-hand side. So if for some reason one of these was closed out and we didn't mean to close that, we really want that back so that we can view that. It was an accident. This would be the place that we would come to get that pushed back out there for us. You can expand this and you'll see that there's a hidden, collapse, and expanded option. So hidden would be completely closed off of the My Accounts listing where it's not even there. Collapsed would be the view where we're only seeing the account nickname in the heading, and then expanded would be kind of what we're seeing here with the checking at the top. Transactions per page on Details tab and transactions per page on Transactions tab. Again, as I mentioned, the default for both of those tabs is 10, but as a customer, if I wanted to see 50 transactions per page on each of those tabs, and I do not want to have to edit that every time that I log into internet banking, I could edit that on this screen. So we've drilled into the account. We're on the Settings sub-tab, and we can edit that from this screen. So we can choose 10, 50, 100, or all. We can do that for both of those tabs, whether that's Details or Transactions or both. It would allow us to set that setting and retain that so that it's remembered every time we log in. The next sub-tab is going to be Statements. The Statements tab does give us the statement terms and agreements so that we can see that agreement. We can review the agreement, read over it. If everything checks out and we're ready to move forward, we would just bubble in Accept, type in our name, our email address, verify email address, and then which of the following would you like to receive, statements, and then sign up. Statements begin to build after the initial maintenance is completed. So if you do not have online statements today, and in the new system, when that maintenance is made on the core side, the statement that cuts after that maintenance is made is when your statements will begin to accumulate within internet banking. On the Services tab, this is a shortcut to the Messages area for this specific account. So within Messages, there are certain forms that would be applicable to certain account types. Maybe a request for delayed loan payment option, form. That's something that might make sense for a loan account, but it would not make sense to make that available on a checking account. So the forms that we're seeing here are the forms that are set up specifically for the account type that we're looking at. And then below that, you do have a Submit Other Support Request, and this is more of a free-form text box that you can type in that would allow you to maybe key any type of question that you might have and submit that. Going back up to my account, as we click through the rest of the screens, I'll click on a savings account so that you can see what that looks like. The sub-tabs are very, very much the same. Details, transactions, quick transfer settings, statements, and services. Everything that we just covered for checking is fully applicable on savings. It's very much the same. Loan accounts, again, very, very similar. We do have details, transactions, settings, and services. Like I said, pretty much the same as what we were seeing before on the other account types. CDs and IRAs, very much the same thing. If it doesn't make sense, it's not going to be there. If it does make sense, it would be there. The screens, as far as details and transactions, would all be the same. At this point, we'll take a look at the Transfers tab. If you have processed a transfer or a payment on any system, this is probably going to be pretty user-friendly and pretty intuitive for you. But you're just choosing the from account, and then you're choosing the to account. So what account you're wanting to pull funds from, what account you're wanting to put money into, and then choose the when do I want this to happen. If you choose now, that is considered an immediate transfer. So if we proceeded through this, entered our amount, click submit, that would be an immediate transfer, and those cannot be canceled at any point for any reason. The only thing that can happen is to allow that to completely process, and then maybe the bank could go in the following day and reverse it for you to move it off of the system, or we could, the customer could go in and make that transfer in the reverse order of how they initially processed it. You do also have a specific date option. It's just going to give us a calendar date, and then if we want to process that transaction before or after the holiday. We also have a recurring option, so you can see that there are several different frequencies that are available there. And as you can tell, when you click through the options, the screen changes to give us the appropriate fields that need to be out there and filled in to complete whatever we're requesting and wanting to accomplish. We do have to key in that dollar amount to process the transfer. A description is something that is optional. Descriptions are only specific to Internet banking. They do not print on statements. They do not go anywhere except for Internet banking, and they are specific to the customer. So if you type a description, you're really the only person that is going to benefit from that. You're the only person that would see that. It's not going to go anywhere else. If we scroll down the screen a little bit, you'll see that there is a scheduled transfers area. So we have something set up to be scheduled to process in the future, whether it be recurring or specific date. That's going to show for us at the bottom of the screen. We can edit those transfers. You can delete those transfers, make changes there if you like. Moving back up to the transfer heading, we have transfer history. We can click in that. And this is going to give you an overview of the history for the transfers that you have processed. Loan payments, that may or may not be something that's offered by the bank. But again, if it's a transfer or a loan payment, it would all be housed here as far as history. You can filter by date range. You can filter by the from account, the to account. Again, all of these headings are filters. If we wanted to search by a specific confirmation number, you could search by that. And looking at this, you'll notice that the status, for the most part, in a live environment, the status is going to tell you that it has been approved. We are looking at a demo test environment at this point. So what I'm seeing says unable to process. If you do see something like that where it tells you it was unable to process, if you were to move your cursor over that and just hover for a second, it will give you a little more information on the error of what happened. So this says error occurred. I know it's because I'm in a demo environment, but for informational purposes, that may be how you can determine what was going on, if the account was in SF for some reason, or if there were issues there trying to pull the funds, maybe the things just weren't set up correctly. The next piece that I'd like to take a look at is going to be settings. So under settings, we can look at a number of different things here, but primarily the subtabs allow us to update our personal credential information. So if I wanted to change my username, I would need to key in my current password, and then I could delete my username and type my new username, click submit, and that would update the username for me. The same thing for password. If I wanted to change my password, I would just need to verify my current password, type the new password and retype that, and then click submit. For contact information, this is updating an email address. Again, very same thing. Validate password, input that new email address. The greeting, this would be the security greeting that's displayed, along with the personal image or security image that's displayed anytime the system asks for your password. So we would validate our current password, and then from there be able to click in and edit that greeting of what we want it to say, and then pick a new image at that point if we wanted to change that. The last subtab here is going to be security questions. This would allow us to validate our password and change our security questions as well as security answers if we wanted to edit that. The next subtab that I'm going to take a look at under settings is going to be account settings. Account settings allows us to reorder accounts in the way that they appear on the My Accounts screen, which is that landing screen when you initially sign in. So this allows you to reorder those accounts on that screen. The key to this is you're not able to reorder between account types. So if it's a checking, it has to stay under the checking heading. If it's a savings, it has to stay under the savings heading. But if I wanted to make this account number the very first one in my list, I can move that up the list by clicking that green arrow to get it all the way up to the top there. You can see that you have those options for all of these, the different account types that are available in your internet banking session. And at this point, just click Save Order of Accounts to retain that information. Under Settings, we'll also take a look at Alerts. Under the Alerts area, we do have custom alerts, security alerts, bill pay alerts, card alerts, and alert history. So custom alerts, these are going to be things along the lines of a high balance, a low balance, pending ACH items, a check that's clearing the system that we're looking for, things of that nature. This is what those alert types would look like for us. You can see the different pieces of information that would be required to set that up. Delivery type, you could choose email or text. Text actually does not appear by default within the screen. In order to see text there is another sub-tab under Settings, the Devices tab. You do have to add a mobile device before the device is out there available for text use, which we'll take a look at in just a second. But under alerts, you do have the ability to set up several custom alerts. There are security alerts, and these are going to be things like the primary email address was changed, the password on your account has been changed, security questions, the security greeting, if these pieces are changed or updated, they are automatically sent out through a systematic email generation just to notify you that these changes have taken place, and these are all emailed by default. If you want to turn these off, you certainly can by unchecking them. You can certainly edit them on this screen if you want to. Bill pay alerts, there are several different things that you can do under bill pay alerts. Payments scheduled that are greater than, if a payee has been deleted or removed for whatever reason, list of bill pay transactions that are scheduled to be processed. So you can see the different pieces of information that could potentially be set up here. So what you would want to do is go through and check mark these. The bill pay alerts, they do all go out at the same time during the day. So if you turn all of these on, they would all be sent out at, something like 8 a.m. Pacific time or something along those lines, 8 a.m. Central Standard Time, whatever time frame the bank designates, that's what time these email alerts will all go out. Card alerts, and looking at card alerts, this is going to give you some information on the specific card, and I don't have any examples tied to this, but if we had transactions that were clearing, maybe a debit card has been swiped and we have it set up so that we receive card alerts on it, well, it would generate an alert to me as a customer to let me know that the transaction, the card has been swiped at TJ Maxx for $9.68. Alert history. This is going to give us an overview of any alerts that have historically been sent out. So if the alert has been sent out of the system, whether it's custom alert, security alert, bill pay alert, or what have you, it would be listed here so that we could go back to it to see that alert when it happened. We could see other bits of information about that as well. In order to add a device to be able to use the text services, that could be found under the Devices tab. So at this point, we would want to click Add a New Device. Get the old one out of there. There we go. So we'll click Add New Device. And at this point, we're able to add a device name. So test. And then we can choose the device platform that we're adding. At this point, it's going to prompt me to accept disclosures for this device. So we would want to review the disclosures. At this point, we would be able to see the disclosure that the bank has set up. We would click I have read and accept, and then click I accept. So at this point, if I'm using a cell phone, I would be able to click Send a Verification Code. It's going to text message this phone number, a verification code. I could retrieve the code. Once the code is sent, this will change so that it is a text box. I would retrieve the code from my text message, key that into that text box, and validate my phone. At that point, once my phone has been validated, I will see a green check mark that will tell me that the device has been verified, and then I would be able to go back to alerts and start using that text option in the alerts area in the drop-down here where we would see text. That's when text would actually populate, and that's when we could actually set it up and choose from the list which phone numbers that we actually want to utilize to be able to send that text message alert to. We'll go ahead and take a look at support now. The Support Center is really where the messaging hub of Internet banking lives for the customer session. So if you're wanting to communicate securely with the bank, you could come to this area and submit a secure form, a secure message to the bank. You can expand the form. So where we were looking at forms under My Accounts at the account level, all of those forms, regardless of whatever account type the form is built out for, all of those forms are housed in this area under Support. So you could choose a form from the listing, or you could choose Create a Support Request, which is just a free-form text box, just like any other general email draft where you are typing a body of a message. From there, you'd be able to create the request, give it a subject, and then send the message to the bank. The bank can identify that as belonging to this specific customer because the username, the user profile is attached to that on the back side. They can see who they're addressing there. You can go back to view the inbox. If for some reason the bank were to respond to you on a message or request a follow-up for anything, when you initially log in, when you're on that My Account screen, you would see a message here in the upper right-hand corner that says you have one unread message. You could click that red link that would take you to the inbox where you could see that unread message, and from there you would be able to open that, read the response, possibly respond to the bank if need be, so on and so forth. The next area that we're going to look at is the user login report. User login report is just a basic recap of recent login activity for this user profile. It will give you the name of the user that's logging in, so we're always going to see this name that appears at the upper right. Login activity attempted, which is always going to be login, whether the activity was successful or whether it failed, so whether you successfully logged in or whether it bombed out on you, the date and timestamp, the IP address, and then location. A lot of times if you are utilizing a internet service provider that is a pretty global company, it wouldn't be uncommon to see an off-the-wall location listed in this area. You may be in California and the location says that it was in Naples, Florida. It's probably just because of where that IP address is routing from. A lot of this goes back to that IP address, where it's coming from and how it's being routed. So don't necessarily let an off-the-wall location alarm you. Certainly, make sure that you're looking at the date and the timestamp and thinking back through if you logged in or if you didn't log in. And then from there, if there is alarm, reach out to the financial institution. You do have the Help button here. The Help button under Support is the exact same Help button that appears at the bottom of every screen throughout Internet banking. So again, that is the electronic manual that you can open. It is searchable by keyword, and you're able to search through that to locate any helpful information that might be beneficial to you.